Hey, what's everybody? What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Masters of Evil podcast. I'm Mike, aka the Strange Spaceman, joined as always with the boys.
Tom PSCN on Instagram.
I always hate these introductions. I'm Alan, Doom Wizard.
We don't have to do introductions. We can just say, "What's up, everybody? We hate you."
Yeah, but I kind of feel like everybody by now knows who we are.
You mean all three people that are watching right now?
All two people that Tom's girlfriend.
Yeah, we have three people watching, so we'll just say two because we know Tom's girlfriend is one of them. So, episode 10, huh? Yeah, big. This is our big anniversary episode. And
The big
but we made it, episode 10. Whew, we can finally go to Spotify or something like this.
Time to call it quits, guys. Episode
time to call it quits. Time to call it quits and start a new podcast with somebody else. Oh boy. Thanks for everybody who's joining with us right now. As most of you probably know, every week we randomly pick a book from a list of books that we all put together and then read it, review it, and talk about other shit. This week we were lucky enough that Tom, do you want to tell us about the book we got this week, since or are you still busy?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm a little busy. I'm multitasking. The story behind the multitasking is I printed out all the names for the giveaway that we're going to announce as soon as we're done talking about this book. And I left them all on my desk at work. So I hand wrote them out, and I'm now cutting them up to then put them into my Psycho Gorman Happy Meal box to then choose the random winner. But anyways, the book we are going to talk about that we all read is an original graphic novel that was comprised of 4 issues or 5 issues technically?
I think it was 5.
5 issues.
5. And it's called The Plot Holes. It's written and drawn by Sean Gordon Murphy. It is not technically out yet. It is an Indiegogo campaign that is being shipped out pretty soon, actually. But whoever wins tonight, whatever time it is for you, will get a free PDF of this book ahead of time. So that's pretty cool. But the premise of the book, do you have it written down, Mike? I feel like you do.
I actually couldn't find one because there's no it's probably on the Indiegogo, but normally I actually, the best place to find those is right on Comixology because they have the blurbs, and I couldn't, it was obviously not on there. And I also am home alone right now with my 2 small children and worked all day, so I haven't had much time to do anything. So, but you want to give us the rundown about the book?
Yeah, so a quick rundown about the book. It's an interesting subject, I guess you would say. It's called The Plot Holes, and it bases around a team with the same name that's led by Ed, who is technically what they call an editor. And she is editing books to make sure that they turn out popular and they sell well. And so these characters are going into books, pulling out shitty parts of it and making sure things go well and the book sells and everything's great. But they grab a hold of that big guy right in the middle there, that Sean definitely based off of himself, who is a comic book writer, and they need his help to do some stuff. So it's got a lot of cool different characters from different styles of books, manga. There's a really big gay tiger that's pretty awesome. He's blue as well.
Roar.
Yeah, Roar is his name. There's that little bastard down on the bottom there. What was his name?
Kevin.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Who's supposed to be Cal. So, and I mean, right? These people are all kind of representative of like things we know in pop culture, right? Like Kevin was supposed to be Calvin.
Right.
That Johnny Manga guy was like a mix of like almost like it was kind of like Link and Naruto mixed together, like
with some Gundam a little bit.
With some Gundam, yeah, some badass looking Gundam.
But yeah, it's a cool story, and now we're gonna talk about it. Not completely, because since it is not out, there's no physical way for any of you to have read this already. So I don't want to completely fuck you over and not give you a chance to read it for yourself.
Yeah, I think. Hi, thanks for coming. Hi. I think I think we can dive into this book a little bit without like giving away the end and too many spoilers because it is yet to come out yet. So, but my favorite part about this book and it was the ongoing theme throughout the book was like obviously it's about comic books, right? It's about an editor, comic books and other books, right? And so there's tons of like obvious made up books that are in this, but throughout there was like hints of reality in there, right? He was constantly referencing his own books like Punk Rock Jesus, which we've talked about how many times we love. And then like it almost felt like kind of like what's that movie Ready Player One? You know how like there's just like it's just like saturated with pop culture in the background and like there's all these Easter eggs. That's what this book was. It was just filled with comic book like pop culture nerd stuff and I loved it. I loved every second of it.
I didn't love it, honestly.
The book.
Yeah, I didn't love it. To be completely honest, I didn't love it. I mean, I thought it was interesting and the take was interesting, but there was no like thing that made me absolutely love this book. Like it was decent enough, but I wasn't like, wow, this is fucking great. It was.
Yeah.
It was.
You know, I will slightly echo you there just a bit, and that's coming from someone that really likes Sean Murphy. Like I have a Punk Rock Jesus tattoo on my arm, and Joe the Barbarian was one of my favorite books. It's probably in the top 5 or so that I've ever read. So I was really excited to read this, and there was no like, I didn't necessarily care about the main comic book writer, even though he does slightly go into his backstory and something tragic that does happen to him. I never really felt connected to that. The art was good, generally pretty awesome the entire way through. Seeing the different styles of trying to have like draw a manga character that way the entire time when he wasn't in that style of a book. But at the same time, Sean Murphy's very angular when he draws things and sharp, and that can cross over to that as well. But like the little asshole kid, Frank or whatever his name is, he looked really cool because you could tell he had that old like stippling color that a newspaper would use all the time, so he definitely stood out around everybody else. But I get it. I completely get it. The villain was interesting enough, I guess. You had it revolved around Ed more than probably anybody else, really, and the main editor of the story, and that it had its ups and downs for that character, and it was cool.
I agree. When I said my favorite part about this was all the Easter egg stuff, that's what I meant. Literally, it was like.
Don't
the
go
book
back
was
now.
good.
You love the
book.
book.
No. I didn't say I love the book. I said I love that about the book. Like I obviously love his art too. Like I could look at this book all day long. Like everything, and like he was drawing everything different. Like tons of vehicles, right? Obviously, what he does, tons of cars. It almost felt very like self-indulgent for him. Like this was very much him, like. Just indulging himself in everything that he wanted. And so at first, like I was very like the first 20 pages or whatever, the first chapter, I was not sold on this whole idea of jumping from book to book. I was like, this doesn't seem interesting. The characters are cool, but I don't see how this is going to work or make sense. And by the end of it, to be honest with you, I still didn't understand. Like, I understand what they were doing, but I just didn't know why. Like one of you said it was because they're trying to make sales, and I just didn't catch that. Like, it just seemed like they were doing this to keep, I don't know, books alive, to sell books. I don't know why they were doing any of the things they were doing, and that just didn't seem. It was fun. It was beautiful art. The characters were cool, but. At the same time, like I didn't know who the main character was in this. I thought it was Ed, then I thought it was the comic book writer. I like the villains, quote, the villains the best. Like
Yeah.
the vampire pirate, she was the fucking most badass.
Yeah, I didn't expect there to be any actual nudity in this book, and I started reading it right around the time where it gives the vampire's backstory, and she was like naked, just banging pirates on pirate ships, and I was like, oh fuck, and like scrolled real quick. I was like, the Water District is not gonna like this.
Don't read comics at work, boys and girls.
No.
I mean, it was just, I don't know. It just, like, even the villain wasn't really it wasn't even really like a villain, because you kind of have them in the very beginning, and then he kind of attaches himself to one of them, and then kind of destroys tries to destroy, but it just doesn't. It just, I don't know. There was just nothing there. There was no, like, it was just like a dick measuring contest, I guess. Like,
yeah, the quick sell of him being turning around at things. You know what I mean? It was. I didn't care. I didn't feel like he cared or anything. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was 2 pages worth of like, oh, I'm going to change everything I've been doing for 5 issues because of these 2 pages all of a sudden. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was like the best thing that we've read so far, but
no, but it's definitely not the worst. It's not monstrous or anything.
No,
I just waited for that.
It's not any of the books that Mike has picked. So
remember, Deadly Class was my pick, you fuckers. Okay, come on.
One book that we've all read, that we've all have talked about previously, that we've all liked. I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of like I was reading it, and at first I was like, okay, it's kind of interesting, and then it got to the point where I was just like, I'm ready for this to be over.
Yeah, I agree. Certainly by chapter 5, it felt like there was like 4 endings. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
yeah,
wrap it up.
And then even like the kind of, I guess, like kind of twist towards the end with Ed, I thought like it was going to be something completely different. Like, what is the main character's name? Like
Inkslayer.
I thought he was going to be like an actual person, like in the real world. I was like, okay, that's what, like, I kept, whenever they were talking about what Ed was, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is who he's going to be. And then it was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, like, I wasn't sure where this was going, whether this was like complete or it was going to be ongoing. And I guess I see there's obviously room for this to continue, for there to be a volume 2 and beyond.
I hope not, for the sake of
it. But at the same time, right? Like I think this was enough for this book. Like, yeah, I feel, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was.
I think my favorite part was the very end where he's like recruiting new people, and you see him recruit like the female knight, and I was like, that's tight. And that's like there's no words even in that part where he does that. I'm just like, I like this knight woman, like it's just
right.
Cool.
Yeah, it was gorgeous too, right?
Yeah,
like her with like that red cloak, and they're in the graveyard, and it's all white snow, and he's standing there, and it kind of looks like a badass. And I was like, is this setting up for like something that could be more? Like, how many books have you read that you read, 6 you read 6 issues in, and then there's another 30 issues after it that's totally different than those first 6 issues. You know what I mean? Like, it's just set up, and then the book totally goes off the rails. I could potentially see that, but there is a clear ending, a clear wrap up in this.
It turned out to me more like a West Coast Avengers thing, where they're like, here's a new group. You may not want to see them, but maybe you will. And
here they are. But just like some of the things, I'll just pop up some of the stuff like I was talking about, right? Like, he's drawing tons of stuff here. The only reason I took this piece is because he made a reference to Cowboy Bebop. And this is the anime character talking to the main character, Ed. And this is right after they pick up that new guy, and they're like, when he wakes up, you got to show him around. And the anime character goes, why me? And he goes, because he had a few Cowboy Bebop posters. So I just love that kind of shit. And I thought it was hilarious. And then it just continues with a lot of that, right? Like they talk about Gundam and like how his are better because they're powered by drifting cars. It's just so ridiculous. Like, and I feel like he leaned into it on purpose. Like, and he knew how ridiculous he was being, which makes it better for me, you know? And then, like, obviously the nod literally to his own book, Punk Rock Jesus, right here. Like, again, love his art. Like, this is just, this is why I love him, right? Sean Gordon Murphy. And that was just some of the stuff that, like I said, that was my favorite part. I loved it. I thought the art was out of this world, as it always is with him. I mean, when it comes to scenery and backdrops and cars and spaceships, there's not many people that do it better than him, in my opinion, you know.
And I think that's why they had that last issue was literally them going through 6 or 7 different books, and so he got to draw a different style of scenery, you know, every panel, every page. And no, I was going to say, relating to some of that stuff, when they go into see Robin Hood, they go into Robin Hood's book, spoiler, and his merry men see him and see the manga dude, and they're like, "What happened to this dude's eyes? They're as huge as his head." I was like, "That's fucking fun." But
it was hilarious.
You know what I thought was kind of like a bold choice was using that little newspaper character, and he starts off as like the Calvin and Hobbes, like you said, and he's really nice and really cute, and it's this whole thing. And then I believe the writer died, and then he became somebody else. Someone else picked that character up, and it was different, and he was terrible. So back in the day.
Well, no, they said that she had become like horribly like depressed and became like, it was like in the 30s, and she became like, because of the war, she became a xenophobe and a drunk, and which is kind of in line with some other comic strip writers, not necessarily what's his name from Calvin and Hobbes, Jesus Christ, whatever, but other ones who are known to be like become like straight out racists, and you know they wrote like but it was interesting.
The character was pretty racist and pretty homophobic, and he said some things that kind of surprised me. And in this day and age, to just kind of like throw a random character in there that's just like blatantly racist or you know, whatever, I was kind of surprised. I'm like, some people will understand this and kind of get it and realize like, yeah, he's shitty and he's trying to do better, but he's from that time. But I'm still kind of surprised it happened.
And I mean, the characters around him dealt with him, right? They called him out, like, which I think was important. Like when he said something homophobic or racist, they were like, "What the fuck? You can't say that shit!" Like, you know. And then they'd like make reference, like, he used to be way worse. This is him actually on his best behavior.
He's better now.
Yeah,
he's better now. I thought, it was it was interesting.
So, rate it, Mike.
So I think I was thinking about this. I think the art's going to be a solid 4 no matter what, and I think I'm going to go with a 3 for the story. So, you know, I actually, you know, I think I'm going to read through this again because it was an easy read and it was quick, and you know, there's much to Alan's liking. There weren't many words, and it went through very quickly. But yeah, the story, I don't know. It was fun. There's nothing gripping. 3 and a solid 7 out of 10 for me.
I probably would give it the exact same thing. I enjoy Sean Murphy's art. I always have. It was cool to see a lot of those nods to books that either he created or that he worked on. There's even a DC character in there that you'll see.
Yep.
I'll let you figure out who that is. But so that was great. That was fun. One thing someone told me one day was when I asked them, like, do you like Sean Murphy artwork? And they were like, if I wanted to, I think I brought this up last show actually. If I wanted to look at storyboards for movies, I would just do that because he's very sketchy and, you know, that kind of thing. And I was like, I looked at his art differently ever since I've heard that. And I'm like, oh, I kind of fucking get it. But I still enjoy it. But yeah, the story, I would probably give it a 3. There's a strong possibility. Well, I'll probably read it in because I have the hardcover showing up at my house sometime soon. But yeah, I feel like there was a lot of little things hidden in there that I could probably catch again and may enjoy a little bit more than trying to read 5 straight issues in, a day's worth, So
I feel like that's kind of like what we always do, though. We wait to the very last day to read, however many issues of a book, and then we're like, oh, it's not that great.
But we should probably do it differently, but
I almost like that because I like it being fresh on my mind, and then I like talking through it because like your opinions, what you guys say make me think differently about it, right? And like I'm actually as I'm talking about some of the character moments, I'm like, I really did enjoy a lot of the character moments. It's the plot, oddly enough, the plot of the book that I really just didn't care about. But the characters, the more I talk about them, like I did enjoy a lot of the characters.
Well, I mean, they could have actually gone into the characters more. Like, you get like a little brief like background to the majority of them, but I think if there was more, you would actually care. I mean, 'cause I kind of feel like Ed and Inkslayer kind of having like the same kind of dilemma with their backstories was kind of like, like I get like they could relate to each other, but it was just kind of like
I cared about them the least, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
they were.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I like Scourge a lot. It kind of reminded me of like his outfit kind of reminded me of like Nova. Kind of had like a Nova outfit, but I mean, even him, like, even kind of like he almost had like a Mr. Freeze backstory too.
It's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. Oh, here's this guy.
Oh boy,
here's this fucking dude.
We got celebrities in the house tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We finally made it
for the first time because he's in the raffle. That's why.
Because he's in the raffles.
Is he even allowed? Is he allowed to watch us?
I don't know. I should throw this away.
So did you rate it, Alan? Did you say
I'm gonna be slightly different than y'all. I mean, I say the art's 4. I'm gonna go with 2 for the story. I just it just wasn't interesting enough. Like, it was a quick read. I mean, it was just there are things that I like, but there was definitely just I wish this was over. That's actually why we come to the podcast every week, is to see Mike's mustache. We hope that one day it won't be there, but 10 episodes later, it's still there.
Well, either way, I still think, like, The Plot Holes is the book. It's coming out soon. I really don't know whether this is going to be something you're going to be able to purchase off the shelf, or it's only Indiegogo, I believe.
From what I heard is Sean's going to sell it like on his own website as well afterwards, and depending on how the Indiegogo sold a lot of fucking money. It, like, every time he's done anything like this or anything like that, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's insane.
Yeah.
So there, just from those sales alone, there's a strong possibility that it'll get picked up by somebody to be put on shelves. But I'm sure there'll be a way for you to buy it outright down the line.
Did we ever see if didn't Tony's Kickstarter for Dust Pirates didn't that end today or yesterday?
We're real close. There was like 6 days left, I think 3 days ago. So I think we got a couple days left.
Something like what, like 1,000 away or something like that?
Yeah, he's just there. He's like just under it. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I'll be able to tell you exactly.
Yeah, either way, I recommend, like always, right? Like, support these guys, support these people, and like read it and make your own decision. It was fun. It was worth it. Like, I enjoyed.
I mean, it didn't cost us anything. But it did cost me a lot of time to have to keep signing in with the fucking password, because I was like, we did like photos with my daughters today, so I had to like read a little bit, and then like I was like, sometimes it would just stay open on my browser on my phone, but then I'd have to like log back in sometimes. I'm like, fuck, I gotta find your fucking email, and
So
I'm typing in Tom and like your real name's popping up. I'm like, where the fuck is Tom? Like, there's no email from Tom. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm an idiot.
So going back to Dust Pirates, before we move on, yes, they're 3 days left as of right now, and they're roughly $1,000 short of their goal. So if you guys liked the worst dudes at all on our show just recently, go over to Kickstarter and look up Dust Pirates. You can get a full graphic novel for $30. There's variant covers for it. There's all kinds of other pledges. There's commission pledges, all kinds of stuff. But for $30, you can get the whole thing, and you got 3 days to do it. So go do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to say something before Mike goes on. So I have one of my buddies who tattoos. I told him about the podcast, and he watched the Tony episode, and he was like, I'm watching the Tony episode right now. Why is the guy with the mustache the only person who's talking to Tony? He's like, it seems like you and Tom are just sitting there like listening to this interview going on. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much how every episode is. Mike just runs it, and then me and Tom just kind of come in with like a little bit of banter, and then we end the podcast.
That's not true at all.
We're here for the quirky quips.
Well, that being said, before we go real quick, before we hop into the giveaway, Mr. Doom Wizard, you want to talk about the book that we're reading next week? Next week?
Next book?
Next
we
book?
Are going to be reading. So I actually got, there's a guy that at the local comic shop that I used to go to. He's a big Daniel Warren Johnson fan. And he was like, you should check out Space Mullet. I had never even heard of Space Mullet, so I picked up the trade. It's the ex-Space Marine Jonah and his co-pilot Alpheus rove the galaxy, just trying to get by, drawn into one crazy adventure after another. They forge a crew of misfits into a family that must face the darkest part of the universe together. Space Mullet is a richly detailed, accessible sci-fi world with heartfelt characters and an unforgettable story. So, I mean, the art looks pretty cool.
Show us the book real quick.
That's it's Daniel Warren Johnson, correct?
Yeah, all of it's him. Yeah, he wrote it, drew it. There's like I was flipping through. I haven't read it. I was going to whenever I first picked it up, but I'm legit the laziest person in the world when it comes to reading shit.
I don't know. I'm pretty excited to hear you actually read the explanation of that book because it proves to me that you can like physically read. I wasn't 100% sure, so
I just look at books and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta kind of guess what's gonna happen.
What do you think, Mike, on Julian's comment there?
Yeah, I think that I haven't read Crossover, and I think that's a great question. I don't really know how Crossover really is. Like, I know that they are pretty similar. It's like genre bending, and it's jumping kind of from like, the big two and Image and within comics. But this was literally like they're inside comic books. Like, this is like
he was in Moby Dick for a while.
Yeah, they're in different right, and anything that is any type of any book that was digitized, essentially, they could jump through in this digital library. So I think that this kind of genre is definitely picking up. Like I said earlier, like you see things like Ready Player One and like. It's kind of along those lines of like Wreck-'em Ralph. Like if you've ever seen those movies, like it just brings in all these cool nostalgic pop culture things and then just and brings them all together. I can't say whether this is in line with Crossover specifically. I haven't read that Donny Cates book.
I'll tell you my opinion on it is it didn't keep happening. I feel like a couple of them here and there every few years is a nice nod to all the shit that we like. But if we have an entire genre worth of people just referencing everything else everyone knows already, and pulling on those strings of like, I can't write a story really well, but here's some Back to the Future nonsense that you all know and you like. We can do that, right? You know,
we're basically
cop out for some people.
Yeah. At that point, you're basically reading a book of memes at that point, right? Like it's basically Reddit put into a fucking story. So, like, I agree with that. That's definitely a really good point. But that was a good question. I appreciate that. And finally, a question. Only took 10 episodes
to get one question.
Go ahead, Tommy. Let's talk about the big giveaway. What are we giving away? Who's winning?
So much stuff. So we have stuff coming from multiple people, obviously from, I was going to say the three of us, but Mike didn't actually contribute anything.
Well, I got something I got something I'm going to throw in.
Ooh. All right. So
Mike pulls his dick out.
Should we?
I'm gonna shave my mustache and put it in a little box and send the hair to you.
My keyboard player, he had a handle like one of those little curly mustaches, and he cut it off and mounted it to a wood board, and now it's in his pirate room of his house. So.
What was that little like magnetic thing that you could draw and had like a dude's face and you could pull the
yeah, Wooly Willy.
Yeah.
No, Mike. So, quick question, or what's your suggestion here? Should we add it to this number one prize winner, or should we pull a second and you send them whatever you were going to add?
Pull a second.
So we get two winners.
Whatever the second winner is, we'll get.
Mike's going through the books he was going to throw in the trash. He's like,
no. These are actually something this is something I really enjoy, and you want to give a real quick sneak peek about it real quick, or
okay? What you're going to do for the second place winner?
So I was thinking about this, and these are things that I love. So I came across a few years ago, and then continue to grow, but I came across a big probably like 2 long boxes. So for this pretty big collection of pre-code horror reprints, and I got them for really, really cheap. So I went through and I picked out some of my favorite covers and some of my favorite stories, and then probably 4 or 5 of these is what I'm going to send. So quick little, let me bring myself up here so we can do this, and I'll show you some of the ones, right? So some shock. This is one of my favorite covers almost ever, Tales from the Crypt. These are all reprints, obviously. Tales from the Crypt again, and then Haunt the Fear, and then I got a few others. So I might send probably, I think that's a pretty good addition. So I'll probably go 4 or 5, maybe 6 books. But that's my addition to it. There you go. So for those people who actually did, like go through all this and like and subscribed and reposted and everything, we really appreciate it, and that's our little nod, because thank you.
100%. So the things the first place winner is going to win are a Batman bust from DC, as well as a Deathstroke bust. If you have not seen those, then you're not going to win them anyways. But they are posted on our Instagram, so you saw them there. Alan, actually, the person that donated those isn't even on the podcast. That's from Batmax. Max is a great dude. We've tried to get him on here before to talk about random bullshit, but all he wants to do is talk about Batman, and I won't have it. So we haven't had him. But that's what he's literally giving you guys 2 statues, and he has nothing to do with any of this nonsense we're doing. So he's a great fucking dude. We have Alan below me that is giving 2 books. And what are those, Alan?
I don't remember what they are.
They're Venom number 2 variants.
Oh yeah, it's the Delato. I don't know. I'm trying to remember where they're at.
He keeps them on the floor behind him.
There's books everywhere in my fucking house. I know it's the Virgin variant, and then I can't remember if it's the black and white one or which ones I sent you pictures of. I literally just looked on the page that I had already posted and just sent you something that I was like, okay, maybe people love Venom, so let's go ahead and go with that.
That's perfect. I know one is a virgin, which is really cool looking, but
I can't remember if it's. I don't know if it's a black and white one or not. Let me look. Y'all just go on. I don't.
Yeah. The other two things are something that I donated, which is keeping with I guess three things. Keeping with the plot holes. You're getting a copy of the plot holes, a PDF copy ahead of time before the release, and you're getting a signed Sean Murphy Batman print that is framed already. So that's going to be fun to ship. So you're welcome. And also a nice little original sketch from Alexis Azarit from Space Riders, Tarantula. He just did a Ha cover. I think it was a Third Eye variant for number 3 that sold out real quick. Super cool stuff. You're getting all that. So what I'm going to do is, again, I put everyone's name in here in this lovely Psycho Gorman lunchbox. And if you reposted it in any way, whether it was your story or whether it was actually in, there you go.
I actually have 3 of them, so I might just send all 3 of them.
Oh, hot damn.
So one's the color, and then one is a black and white, and then the virgin.
That is the mustache. Yep. Then there's the virgin.
Yeah. So you get 3 books instead of 2.
3 books. We can't stop giving things away. We're like fucking car salesmen on crack. Okay?
I'll even throw in this $15 Taco Bell gift card I got from Santa.
I hope you do.
No,
you've had that forever.
No one's gonna get this.
That stays with you. Yeah. Fuck that.
Well, I was going to show the post, and then you started showing books, so I tried to show the books, and then I showed my face. So you know how that goes.
Good try. Good try. All right. So I'm going to shake this up a bit. Again, we appreciate you all for – it's probably really loud. We appreciate you all for doing this, reposting, all that good stuff. If we could give you something for everybody, we wouldn't because we don't like you that much.
No.
Yeah, fuck you all.
So I'm going to do it up here so you can see I'm not looking, moving things around in my hand, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do the first place winner first. Might as well, right? And then you get a runner-up after that.
And also you should tell us about that awesome fucking Happy Meal box.
Okay, so Psycho Gorman any day of the week. Psycho Gorman is an amazing movie done by a group of dudes called Astron 6. They did a movie called Manborg, Father's Day, The Void, a bunch of cool stuff. It just came out this year. It is like a love letter to, I don't know, like your 80s horror or your like Power Ranger villains or, it's fucking fantastic. And it's about two kids. There's one of them there that find an amulet that controls this guy who is Psycho Gorman. That's what the kids name him. And he has to do whatever they tell him to do. And then an angel-ish type character, which is right here. Actually, she is also right here on my cup, Pandora. I had 2 cups that came with the Happy Meal. I'm still waiting for the action figures to show up. They're 4th quarter, though, so I got to wait. Great movie. It's on Amazon. It's on Shudder for free right now, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Go watch that. Who is it? Jay out in fucking Hawaii watched it, and he was like, bro, what the fuck was that? And I was like, the best movie you've ever seen, isn't it? And he didn't agree. But you will agree.
And he will let me.
I did pull one. It's right here. I haven't looked at it. Obviously, it's folded, as you can see. No fucking around. And I'm going to open it. It is a person that is here and may have been the last person to say something. Mr. Sidious down there.
Yeah, big winner.
Sits here and listens, he says.
The only person who watches the podcast from open to end every single week.
He has a great idea that Mike should send a 3rd place winner his mustache. So there you go. Mr. First place winner right there. And we will do the second one. And he has another name in here, if I'm not mistaken, because he did repost it. So if he pulls that, I'm going to tell him to go fuck himself and not give it to him. And for some amazing EC reprints, I actually bought a bunch of those when I was in St. Louis recently.
Yeah, they're so awesome.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Mr. Ross Panel Surfing, Arizona.
No, you know what? I don't like that guy. Can we pick another one?
He's not here. If you're in the chat, you can comment and you'll win. But no. So Panel Surfing is number 2. Thank you guys. We appreciate it very, very much. We have a lot of fun doing this, and hopefully you enjoy watching it at all.
I wouldn't message the group page with your address and shit.
Yes, please message the Masters of Evil Instagram with your address. I'm not going to post who won, so if you're not watching, Ross, you will not get anything. So hopefully you actually watch it, and Mike will send you those books. And if not, I'll hold on to these names, and maybe we'll send them to somebody else. You got a week.
I like that. I like that. Let's sit on this and see if obviously Jeremiah's here, so he knows, so he'll message us. So let's see if people actually watch.
Mike's got a week, or Ross has got a week.
I got a week too. You never know, right?
He might die soon.
You never know.
We will if he does not claim his prize. No one tell him, you guys. No one tell him. If no one tells him, I will keep this just the way it is. I will put it on my shelf right where it came from. I will not take any of the names out of it. And on next week's episode, if he doesn't claim it by then, I'll pull a new fucking name. I don't care.
Wait, are we doing one next week? I thought you weren't going to be here, or somebody wasn't going to be here.
You've said that every week, and yes, I'll be here.
Whatever. I text Tom and I was like, "Hey, are we doing a podcast this week?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, I thought you weren't going to be here."
Well, I just want to say thank you to Tom for really doing all the work on that. I appreciate it, man. And
wait, Tom. Wait. Draw someone else's name.
Uh-oh. Are we getting crazy? I got a box of vinyl I just got in the mail today. I haven't even opened it. I'll just put your address on it and send it to you.
Draw someone else's name.
I'm kidding. I don't want to do that. But I will draw.
I was just gonna say, I was like, did you have a couple of drinks or something, Tom? You're gonna regret that.
I got some cool VHS tapes right over there. I could probably give you.
So we're going for third name.
Third name.
All right, Tom. Who gets the mustache?
The prettiest lady.
Oh, and she's here.
Damn right we are.
I'll give it Oprah a run.
You won something, but I don't know what it is yet. Let's wait
for
it. But
I'm gonna send you this Vote Loki #1 fried pie variant.
Nice.
And then I'm going to send you this.
Ooh.
Wow.
I got it for free. So
show that second book again.
Yeah, get that back up there. Show them both. So now that we're bigger, it's going down in value because he's going to touch it.
That was the Hellboy. That was the Hellboy, right? I saw.
There's a little spine tick on one, like in the middle, but it's the Seed of Destruction 25th anniversary black and white cover.
Is that the book that Sean's been looking for forever, and now you're just going to give it away live on a podcast?
No, I don't think so. I think he has this one, actually.
All right. Okay.
I would hope not. Like, wouldn't that be fair? Look, this book's yours unless Sean's looking for it. Unless Sean is looking for this book, it is definitely yours. But I like went to a Second and Charles, and they had like 20 of these books for like $1, and I bought every single one of them.
Smart.
Yeah, and I was like, I mean, it's not like much, but And they were all like, they weren't bagged and boarded, but they were like in the poly bag or whatever. Some of them were, and I was like, for $1, like, you know, it's gonna be a TV show, so more than likely it's gonna be worth something. It's like like a $15 book. So,
well, there you go.
So that's our speculation corner, brought to you from our local comic speculator, Alan Wolf, aka Doom Wizard.
But that also reminds me that I need to sell the regular, just like the regular fucking copies of that book.
Just admit to everybody that you speculate on comics all the time.
Did that President Loki book, like, or Vote Loki run go up at all? Did anyone notice?
I just think the first copy did, like the number one A cover.
Mm-hmm.
I think like that one, like there's another variant for number one, but I think like the fried pie variant went up like a couple bucks, but I don't have my phone. I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head, but I know because he appeared in that fourth or the fifth episode, it did jump up a little bit.
Right. I hate that. Like, I just go to my room and grab more stuff. I like you guys.
Perfect segue.
I'm gonna throw in this magic 8-ball. Pick another name. No, I would never give this magic 8-ball away.
Let's talk some Marvel here, huh? So
look at that shit.
Before we move forward, right? Like, oh yeah, right? Yeah, that's pretty
fantastic.
Cool.
Perfect. I knew you were gonna win. It's rigged.
That's it. It's rigged. It is rigged. So before we move forward, for all 7 or
wait. Before we move forward for what you're saying,
okay.
If you don't message us your address, I will not send you nothing.
That means he'll send you something.
I'm not going to go out of my way to send anybody anything because I hate shipping books. I'm the worst person about shipping books.
He still has books he bought for me forever ago.
Or I still have the fucking Judge Dredd cards that I haven't shipped to you guys yet.
We opened live on IG like 6 months ago.
And then I still have I think I shipped all of the Nomad things out. But I still have, I don't know whose patch. I still have these patches. I still have one that's somebody's.
He has my fried pie variant for it was a Tula Lotte variant. What the fuck? God, I don't remember.
This is my claim to fame. This only took about we got this probably 2 years ago, maybe. I don't know. And it only took about 2 years to get, and I framed it all. Just for and it says, if this patch finds you, I'm sorry to inform you that you're my biological father. And I demand back child support.
I know one is Roy's, and I can't remember who it might be Sean, because I keep telling Sean that I'm going to send him stuff, and then I keep forgetting. Like, I was going to send him my old vest. I still have hot sauce.
Roy's dead. We realize that, right?
Alan was going to send me a book like a year ago. I don't believe anything. He's a vampire. Remy's a vampire. Even though he cut his hair, he'll tell me to, I cut my hair. It's not long anymore. I'm not a vampire. No, you can't just cut.
Wait, who's Roy? Somebody said something about Roy. I don't know who that person is.
You know who Roy is.
Remy 100% is on that What We Do in the Shadows TV show.
He does. Yeah. He definitely looks like a vampire. And he's like, I cut my hair. Nobody cares, bro. You're still a fucking vampire. I can't be calling you a vampire forever and then you just cut your hair and you're not a vampire anymore. Like,
that's some good cloaking right there. You just cut your hair and you're totally not the thing you were. I love that.
Okay, Clark Kent, you're not Superman anymore. Because you put fucking glasses on. Yeah, I don't remember who. I think that's Sean. I still owe Sean some hot sauce that I'm pretty sure it's fucking gross now. It's been sitting on top of my refrigerator for like the past year and a half.
On top of your refrigerator.
On top of my refrigerator. I'm literally the worst person ever about sending stuff. Like whenever I was supposed to send Tom Coffin Bound like
That's what it was.
forever ago, and I still have all those issues. And every time I look at it, it reminds me of that I didn't send them. But then you ended up buying it anyway, didn't you?
I do, but I do have one.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad about it at all.
But
I did the same thing to Sean, and I feel bad. He sent me some books to have Ben Templesmith sign them, and I did, and then didn't send them back to him for like at least 6 months. It was before COVID, and I just sent them back probably 3 months ago. So yeah,
That's
over a
amazing.
year.
Yeah, I'm the worst. Don't ever ask me for anything because I will never send it to you unless I can ship it in like an envelope. If I can ship it to you in an envelope, you're gonna get it 100% whenever I get around to it. But if I have to,
That sounds so much better.
So long story short, everybody who won, even if you do DM us, you'll get those books in 4 to 5 months. So thank you very much. We appreciate it.
when we hit episode 100, you'll finally. What book was I supposed to send you, Remy?
I don't know. He said, "I wish." I think he meant, "I wish he was on the show" or something.
No, I
like
think
that.
he wishes he's a vampire because who wouldn't want to be? I guess.
I'd be a vampire.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Well,
Whack. All right, we're talking about Black Widow first.
so yeah, so real quick, right? Like, okay, we're spoilers. Okay, we're going to talk about everything openly. We're not holding back. So the last episode of Loki and Black Widow are what we're talking about, and we're not holding back about anything. So, the
was
7
good.
people watching, go fuck off or come back and watch it later. Either way,
Hide your kids, hide your wife. We're talking about spoilers.
hide your kids, hide your wife. So which one do you want to talk about? We were just talking about Loki. You want to talk about that first, or
Nope, going to Black Widow.
all right, we're going to Black Widow.
I don't believe I would even send you nothing. I asked you if maybe I did. Who knows? I think I have an extra one.
You contradicted yourself like 4 times in like 3 seconds. That was amazing.
So Black Widow. So I mean, like, so what's pretty cool is like we haven't seen a Marvel movie in 2 years. Literally, it's been 2 years. This was the first one, and on top of that, we've got all these shows coming out, and now we're just going to be having like show, movie for the next 15 years until, you know, COVID-20 kills us all. But what are your thoughts about Black Widow?
Scarlett Johansson has dead eyes. She's very hard to watch sometimes. I can't tell if she's hot or not. I can't. Like, she looks like a mannequin. Like, if you were to walk into a store and see like a mannequin with a face, she looks like a mannequin. But
That's true.
I really did like the movie. I didn't think I was going to like the movie.
Was she your least favorite part?
Yeah.
Which is sad because it's her movie after all this time.
I mean, I've never really liked her at all. Like, I liked her. What is that one movie that she was in where she gets like the drugs put inside of her body, and then like they like absorb into her body, and she can like use 100% of her mind, and she's like starts fucking doing all kinds of weird shit. I've never seen that movie. Lucy. Yeah, I liked her better in that movie than I did as Black Widow. Like, I even liked her in Ghost in the Shell. Juan, don't talk to me.
You lost. I didn't, honestly. I didn't notice her being more sexualized in this movie than she has any other time. I thought there's been other ones where she was, you know, like Iron Man 2, you know, she did, they make fun of the fact that she does her little superhero landing and she's like, and like does her little hair flip, you know, and so I think they've strayed away from that a little bit, but maybe not.
I didn't. For me, it was her sister, and then fucking what's his name, David, whatever the hell his name is. What's his last name?
Harbor.
Yeah, Harbor.
David. I like David Harbor the most. I think he was great as Red Guardian. I didn't love the girl who played her sister that much either. I'm very big on like, I hate like when accents almost seem kind of forced. and it just seemed like she was just like I really like that Taskmaster was a chick. Wah, wah, wah. I've been saying this for fucking ever, but
Yeah.
But I saw something too that like the person who actually plays Taskmaster in the suit is a man, and then whenever she takes the helmet off, it's actually the chick.
And I feel like that's kind of obvious when she does take that suit off because she's fucking big. From here down, she's pretty big, and then her head just kind of didn't really look like it fit her body that well. But I agree with that. But the funny thing is, I completely disagree with the fact that you didn't like her sister, because Florence Pugh as her sister was my favorite part of the entire movie.
Absolutely.
I thought her accent watching like Midsummer and then watching this, I don't feel like her accent was forced at all.
See, but I'm also the only person in this whole wide world who hated Midsummer.
Yeah, well, that's probably true.
You just hate everything, bro.
That movie was so boring, bro. It was it reminds me of who's the one guy who did it? Is the guy who did Hostel? Eli Roth. It kind of reminded me of like an Eli Roth movie. Like we're trying to be gory for the sake of being gory, and it was just like,
Well, let's not talk about Midsummer. Let's talk about
let's talk about Midsummer.
Hey, we could talk about that. I would happily do a podcast dedicated to that movie because I
definitely liked her more than I liked Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. I mean, she looked weird in the white suit to me. I don't know why. She just looked kind of weird in the white suit. Like when she was I like all the vest stuff, like her talking about the vest and
so. Yeah, so I'll put this out here, right? Like the four of them sitting around a table in the kitchen, like eating dinner, talking. I could have watched that for an hour and a half. Like that was so much fun. Like them in the car going back and forth. Like I don't really care for Scarlett Johansson as like an actor. I don't think she's the best actor out there. I think it's clear that she was chosen for that role because of her looks. Like that's very clear. Like I think she's somewhat of a good actor, but like the two of them in the car, like Florence Pugh really made her better in that role. You know, like the back and forth with the vest, like I knew you liked it, like all that kind of shit, like her constantly ragging on her. Like I felt like they were family. I felt like they were sisters who like dealt with shit. Like I could have watched, like the action was okay. Taskmaster was a throwaway villain who was wasted, in my opinion, because Taskmaster should be so much more.
Who's still alive?
What they were.
Who's still alive, by the way.
Yeah, I know. And we right. And they may come back in Hawkeye or whatever.
I mean, how often do they kill off fucking Marvel villains? Yeah. I mean,
yeah, but right. Yeah.
Besides like Surtur and fucking Thor Ragnarok, almost every villain is completely dead by the end of the movie. So I mean, and we do see fucking purple-haired chick, Janine Garofalo. Is it Janine Garofalo?
No, it's not. It's the chick from Friends.
Yeah, what's her name? No, it's not the chick from Friends.
No, it's a chick from Seinfeld.
Yeah, from Seinfeld.
And it's
same difference.
Julia
Dreyfus.
Julia
Janine Garofalo.
She's a candidate.
No, but I mean she.
That was good.
Yeah,
I like that. Which I saw an interview where someone asked Kevin Feige like how COVID affected Marvel, and he said really the only thing that got affected was her introduction, because she was supposed to show up before Falcon and Winter Soldier. We were all supposed to know who she was because she showed up in Black Widow, which was supposed to happen before that.
Right.
But realistically, watching it this way didn't really matter because either way, we would know who she was, and it was just a real short introduction, you know. So it was like, okay, cool, yeah, it's that lady again. She's making a Dark Avengers team or some bullshit, you know.
Wow, I've seen her twice.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't think the fact that this movie came out so late really makes a difference. Obviously, but
past.
Yeah, because it doesn't really tie to anything besides fucking the Hawkeye show, because the end credits. I mean, anything else was kind of like its own separate thing from everything.
Yeah, see, Sidious is talking about Thunderbolts, and I don't know if that's where they're going. I really don't. because there's so many other characters.
All right, draw another name. Sidious is out of the contest.
There's so many other characters that have been introduced for a different style of team than Thunderbolts, but I'd watch it.
I mean, we got Ross, we got Zemo.
Yeah, I mean Thunderbolts feels natural because of like what you said, because it's General Ross and there's Zemo's there, but I mean they could easily go with Dark Avengers as well. I mean,
there was a Young Avengers for a minute there with WandaVision.
Yeah, I was just gonna, and they still are, right? Like, I mean,
we also need. I mean, we're gonna get
there.
We need. I mean, if we're gonna have Dark Avengers, we need some Norman Osborn. So I mean,
yeah. Well, who knows? I mean, like the big thing about all this, right? And like we could go back to Loki and talk about all this too, but like clearly there is a multiverse being set up, and there's room for all these different teams, right? Like, I think they're going narrative or speculation about it is like you're going to have the Young Avengers in the TV shows, right? That's where they're setting that stuff up. And then you're going to have the next big thing on screen, which might be Thunderbolts, Dark Avengers, whatever it may be. But like with Spider-Man coming out soon and the multiverse being opened up, like we might get Norman Osborn as a big bad, which I would fucking like imagine at the end, like Hammer is there and you have fucking like Norman Osborn and he takes all these people together and makes the Dark Avengers. Like I'm all fucking for that.
Do you want William Dafoe or do you want someone else? Or
No,
Willem? Sorry.
Willem Dafoe's a great fucking actor.
He is.
Best, yeah.
He was scarier without the fucking mask on, though.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He was really good in that role, but he is not like Norman Osborn in that like when he's doing Dark Avengers. He seems more like put together. I mean, he's crazy. He's a lunatic, but like he's running all this shit. Like he's in charge.
Yeah.
And William Dafoe just seems like a fucking lunatic who has no frame of reference for anything and can't even keep himself together, let alone put a team together.
He's old as shit now. I think maybe if they'd cast somebody younger for. All right, draw another name. No, I mean, I thought Black Widow was a great movie. I didn't expect it was going to be as good. I'm actually going to watch it again. I watched it on my laptop whenever I went to Mississippi in the back of a car on the way home. So I mean, I didn't get to really focus on it, but I thought it was definitely a lot. I wasn't expecting to like the movie. I was like, this movie's going to suck.
I agree. I did not expect to like it at all, and I was blown away by how much I liked it.
Yeah, it was the first movie I've seen in theaters since everything happened, and it didn't disappoint because I was kind of worried, but I had, very hopeful thoughts, and I enjoyed it a lot.
I really love the part where Red Guardian's arm wrestling the people in prison, and he's talking about fucking his days with Captain America. And then whenever he sees Black Widow again, and they're getting off the helicopter or like whatever they're on the helicopter, and he's like, "Did he talk about me?" And she's like, "Who?"
Yeah. No, it was good. I'd be interested to go back and watch Civil War, Black Widow, and Infinity War all in a row, just to get that kind of timeline feel. I don't think it's going to change anything. I just want to do that.
Right.
I've never done the whole watch it chronologically, I've never done that where people watch them, out of release order and watch it in timeline order. But for those three movies, I mean, especially since Winter Soldier is
the best movie,
my favorite. It is. And this felt a lot like Winter Soldier. Like it had that espionage, James Bond, spy thriller type feel to it. That's what I loved about this so much too, is it took place in Marvel, in the cinematic universe, and there wasn't any there was subtle, obvious superhero powers with the Red Guardian, but it was so subtle. He just kind of flipped the car. It wasn't in your face like craziness, and I enjoyed it because that's what I liked a lot about. I think I said Civil War earlier, but I meant Winter Soldier. Either way.
All right, rate the movie.
Yeah, right.
Are we rating the movie?
Plot and art.
Plot and cinematography.
I would say like if I was gonna pick two things, I'd say like the overall plot, and then like in these movies, what are we looking for? Action, right? The action in these movies, I think like
There was a lot of action though in this.
there was a lot of action, and I thought the fight scenes were pretty good. Like I liked it. Like I definitely enjoyed it.
That was something I was worried about, and I'm in no way trying to sound sexist at all, but a lot of like female fighting looks a little softer or a little held back or a little choreographed more than some others. And you saw Scarlett Johansson, or technically you saw her stunt double, get thrown the fuck around sometimes. Like when her sister like throws her behind her in the house in Budapest, and her leg like falls through the window of the door, and like that looks fucking hurtful. That looks terrible. So I think that was done really well. There was some really cool stuff.
Yeah, there's that part where they're fighting in the red room. Not really the red room, but whenever all the chicks are like fighting her in that room, and she's just getting her ass beat. Look, get out of here with your speculations, okay?
We've had enough speculation already. I would be 100% down with that, though. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I think that's. I mean, it's kind of like a redemption for everyone hating him in Hellboy.
Yeah,
I agree about the no scene.
Well, that was awesome. I like that because realistically, I felt like the end of it was kind of just whatever, you know? And then the fact that she had to like break her own nose to be able to do anything anymore, I was like, all right, well, you're pretty fucking cool at this point.
Yeah. And I think at the end, like, this was definitely like she's a badass. Like the Black Widow is a badass. Like,
yeah,
take the acting aside and everything, like she's a fucking badass. And like I was not sure towards the end of this movie that like she had everything. You know, she always has these. You always think that she's like the victim, and then at the end, like like in the original Avengers, and like a lot of this stuff, like she ends up being like, I knew all this stuff was going to happen. You know, she plotted it all, she planned it all, and I was not so sure that was going to happen in this. And I was when it did, like when she took the mask off and broke her nose and all that shit happened, I was like, yes, like I was so fucking stoked that happened. You know,
yeah.
So, yeah. That's a good point.
Are you guys mad at all about the Taskmaster reveal? Because a lot of people were pissed off that it was just it was his daughter being they compared it to like the fucking Iron Man 3 reveal.
No, I didn't care. Honestly, I've never been like a big Taskmaster fan anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like who's sitting back like so angry? Taskmaster is my favorite, and God forbid they ruined them. They made them a female, and they blah blah blah, and all this other bullshit. Like, if you love Taskmaster that much, then like, I'll give it to you, I guess. But
I mean, it also fit the story. So
if you're just saying because you're upset just because like Taskmaster's not is a male and not a female, then I just fuck you. Like I don't have time for that shit. I just don't care.
I could like see, if you really like that character, you collect that character, blah blah blah. The fact that it's a completely different origin story, I could see someone being like, "Well, that's not what I was looking for," and I'm not a big fan of that. That's one thing, but
that's
if you're
fine.
really doing it because it's like, oh, this is just some chick and that's fucked up. It's like you're an idiot.
Listen, if you have a deep tie to a character and you say like, this is not how I wanted to see this character realized in a movie. I wanted to see the original character because I love this character. Again, like you said, Tom, I agree with that. If you're just upset because Marvel's ruining comic books because they're trying to be fucking diverse or woke or whatever, then don't watch the fucking movies and shut up. Nobody cares about what you have to say. That's my personal opinion. Like that's just how I feel about it. Like I'll make a quick analogy or whatever reference, right? So Sandman is coming out soon, right?
Ooh, yeah.
I love Sandman. I just finished rereading it. Almost. I'm almost done for the third time. I fucking love it. I've listened to the podcast or the audiobooks. I fucking love everything about Sandman. John Constantine, although not a direct character but in the first whatever it is, 8 issues is in there. He's cast in the new, or she is cast in the new show as a female. I think Death is a black woman. Like whatever. Like that doesn't bother me. Like I don't care. Like I've gotten John Constantine in many different ways. Like I just want to see this story done right. Like
right.
If
the actor's good, the movie will be good, or the TV show will be good. That's
exactly. I care that the actor is good. That's all I care about. And like, I don't care if John Constantine in Sandman, where he's got like 3 fucking pages of the first 8 issues, whether it's a female or a male. Like I just don't care. Like as long as the acting's good and the story lines up, and I love the show, who gives a fuck? Like that stuff just blows my mind that people could get so upset about a throwaway character. And John Constantine's not a throwaway character, but in Sandman, he's kind of a throwaway character.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, he is. I mean, it's just like everyone else. Like Etrigan shows up. Everybody who shows up is a throwaway character in there, except for like obviously
more
right. Dream and everybody else, right? Yeah. So
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's in that.
I don't know.
That'd be great. I bought a good Jean-Claude Van Damme movie the other day.
I know you did. That's why I brought it up.
It's right over there.
If you put Jean-Claude Van Damme in Sandman, now I'm angry because what the fuck is going on here?
But he's in drag.
But if he's in Cyborg, then he's fucking amazing. Look at that shit.
Or Bloodsport, I'm all fucking for it. Or Lionheart. Lionheart's one of the best, bro.
This is like
Cop.
It's like Mad Max, but he's still a fucking ninja. Like that doesn't need to happen. You should do something else in your acting career, like do other roles. And he's like, no, I'm a fucking ninja still. I like the fact that it still has a blockbuster
He's
video.
been like a ninja forever.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What's the one with him? Isn't like he in a movie with DMX? Is it DMX or is it?
That's Jet Li that's in that movie.
Ooh,
you're talking about
a very different person.
You're talking about Jet Li in the movie where Jet Li's like an animal, like not like an animal, but it's like a.
He's got a collar.
Yeah. I can't remember what that movie's called.
I see that Adriana said "Amen, sister," and I believe that was relating to I don't know what, but I
to me. Sure. Dennis Rodman is what it was, and he's right.
What fucking
Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yes. Is it like Double Trouble or something like that?
Yes.
I think it's called Double Trouble.
Wow. I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah.
Double Team. 1997.
Is that based on the? Oh no, that was Double Dragon. My bad. Sorry.
Which is also a really great movie, by the way. Who's the chick that's in? Is Alyssa Milano that's in that movie? Who plays the blonde chick that hangs out with them?
I hope so.
I have no idea.
Alyssa Milano. Oh, Jesus Christ.
So
Loki was good, right?
I mean, but honestly, when is the last time you asked somebody like what their favorite Marvel villain was, and they're like, "Oh, I fucking love Taskmaster." Never.
Yeah, I'm okay. Like there are like let's be realistic, right? There's people out there that are hardcore Taskmaster fans. Like that exists. It's got to, right? I mean, sure, everything exists in the
I
world.
mean, you love Adam Strange, so obviously this is a thing that can exist in the world.
Hey, fuck you, okay? Fuck you. And you love nothing, you soulless piece of shit. So
That's true. Hey, I love you, Mike. I love you.
oh,
That's all that matters.
Finally,
Not-
that is true. That's all that matters. Not you fucking. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I just don't care. I don't think. I think we all feel the same about that. We can probably move on from
Well,
that.
even let's carry that on into Loki with Kang being played. What is the guy's name that played? I literally looked it up earlier.
The actor, I don't know, I forget, but
He's-
is a fucking awesome actor.
But I know
And
people
he-
were complaining about him being cast as Kang too because he's African
So
American.
is that Kang though?
No, it definitely is.
Because
Obviously, he isn't, but his variant is, because he's letting you know that there's other variants that are shitty, and
Yeah.
that's how they're going to introduce him. Sure.
yeah, but so He Who Remains is an actual character.
It is, yeah.
Totally separate.
But it's
Yeah,
an
he's
old,
totally
it's
separate
an
from
old
Kang.
man.
Yeah, it's an old alien.
Yeah.
He's like this old wrinkly yellow hairless thing that exists. He's like a clone of a race that doesn't exist anymore or something like that.
Jonathan Majors is what Goon said. So that's the actor's name.
And that guy signed. I
Wow.
think he signed like a 5-movie deal.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
So
yeah, Kang's going to be the next Thanos, So
no, definitely. I think
Yeah.
also I know a lot of people were talking about it being in the Ant-Man and Wasp movie. But I think what is it? The Doctor Strange movie is like Multiverse of Madness or something like that.
Mhm.
yeah,
It would make more sense for him to appear in that movie as opposed to
we just
the
watched
Ant-Man movie.
the entire multiverse get created at the end of Loki, So it's
Yeah. So before we go you think that this is setting up Kang to be the next Thanos? Is he the next?
Yep.
Is he the next 10-year villain? Yeah.
100%.
Definitely.
Yeah, and multiple Kangs, right? So not only just one Kang.
Yeah.
So you could have Kang in Spider-Man because there's going to be multiverse there. You can have him in Doctor Strange. You can have him in Ant-Man and Wasp. You can have him in anything because it could be variants of Kang.
But I think there's going to be one that's like the main,
of course,
guy. As opposed, I think there may be like variations of him, but I think there's going to be one that's like the main. Because I think at the end, whenever Loki goes back to the TVA, you see the statue, and he's like, and that's obviously Kang.
Yeah. So his head is the actual actor's head, but the whole body is Kang's. It's clearly Kang's outfit. Yeah.
I also don't know where they're gonna go with season 2 of Loki.
I'm fucking stoked. I think
it's cool that they're doing it for sure. But yeah, I guess we're gonna have to see how the next couple movies play out to see how the next season could continue. Because do you think Loki's gonna show up in other movies that will affect how season 2 actually plays out?
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Stay separate.
I think that they're gonna
because technically he's dead in the MCU timeline. Like Thanos snapped his neck.
Yeah, but if they step into Multiverse of Madness, you could have
the alligator Loki.
Anybody, right? Yeah, absolutely.
I also think that's going to be with everything that they've already announced for the next couple of years. Like, how long is Phase 4, right? That we're in right now.
Phase 4 just ended.
Okay, so Phase 5
technically.
Can you pull up a timeline of the movies that are for Phase 5, Mike?
I can.
I know it's the next 5 or 6 years.
So Eternals is next. Eternals is coming out in
Shang-Chi is next.
Oh, Shang-Chi is next. Right, that's right.
Actually, you take that back. What If on Disney Plus is in August, and then Shang-Chi is directly after that, and then you will get the Eternals in September or whatever. That
we get the new
Spider-Man about that.
I think I don't know, man.
I really don't, and I don't. I want to, but I don't.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry.
No, I was saying, yeah, I don't give a shit about Eternals, to be honest. But I noticed that in the comments that the low grades are here, and I know who is part of that, and we're not going to discuss said person and things that may have happened earlier in the show. But the Eternals doesn't look interesting to me at all.
I would just say we did the giveaway, and anybody who's here should watch the full episode to find out who won. Beyond that, if you don't, you don't get it. I'm hopeful for the Eternal. This is I know this is a far stretch, but my hope is that they're showing so little of the Eternals is because like it's going to be so fucking good, or there's so much that they just want to keep it like they don't want to give away any of the shit like that's going to happen. That's my hope. I don't know. I mean, point to one, like in my opinion, there's not really any one movie that has been so atrocious that I didn't walk out of it and be like, that was garbage. I'll never watch that again.
Iron Man 3, Thor, Dark World.
Yeah, I mean, they were bad, but they weren't like... they weren't like... I don't know. Like, it didn't... I wasn't, like, upset that I watched it, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to go back and watch them, but...
I'm also kind of upset that we didn't get the real King at the end of episode 6 in Loki. I would have liked to see some kind of, like, teaser. I mean, we do get the teaser of the statue, but I was just kind of like, cool, this guy is kind of joking around, and it was just very... I don't know. It was very, like, lackluster for me in that sense.
I think our problem is the fact that we knew he was cast as Kang already.
Yeah.
And so for him to show up in this show and technically not be Kang, we were like, why? Like, why? Don't announce the fact that he is the new big bad and then bring him out as a sub character to end a show that everyone's super jazzed about the show, and then all of a sudden you're using the same actor that's going to play something later and only bringing him in as something that's just kind of whatever for the end of this show.
Wonder Woman 84 was boring as fuck.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, that was bad. There's a lot of comments in there. Go back all the way up to Julian's. No, there's more. There's so many. Goon wants to know if we're right above that one. Do we think that What If will lead into stuff happening to the movies? I saw an article recently. I don't know how true it is or anything because who fucking knows? Which actually is another question, but I probably won't go into it. But Peggy Carter is supposed to play a Captain America type character outside of What If. She's doing it in What If as a voice actress, but I saw an article that says she's going to actually do it as a real character, but I don't know in what movie. With this whole multiverse thing, that's a possibility at this point. So it's weird.
I just want to see Sylvie out of Loki.
Out of Loki? Like in something else, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because now she can be Enchantress.
Yeah, exactly.
Because who's to stop her now? Because they're not really in the TVA. You know, what's stopping them from leaving TVA now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was like when I first started watching the show, like or the last episode, I was like within a few minutes, like I'm like, okay, this is going to be big. Going into this episode, I did not think that Kang was going to show up. There was like in my head, I was like, there's no way this is where they're introducing him at all. Like I thought it was going to be a variant of Loki or maybe a variant of Mobius or something like that was doing it, and there was going to be a bigger explanation. And then quickly I realized like, oh, this is it. They're going for it. And then the second they showed He Who Remains, I'm like, that's it. Like this is this is the next fucking 10 years or whatever of Marvel.
I
And
feel
I'm
like
stoked.
he should have stayed that character, though. I don't feel like He Who Remains should be a variant of what's his name? Kang. Yeah, I think they should be totally different characters because they are.
Yeah.
And I think it should have ended Loki that way. I don't necessarily think that it should have been a variant of a bigger villain, because that kind of makes me feel like that character just doesn't fucking mean anything.
Because it really didn't. I mean,
Right. It's
He's
the
based-
Iron Man 3 trope.
Yeah.
the Mandarin fake Mandarin.
And again, we wouldn't know that as as viewers if we didn't know that he was already cast as Kang. You know what I mean? If we didn't know that, and then down the line he becomes Kang as a variant, we're like, oh fuck! But all of us already know that actor was cast as Kang before this episode came out.
You'll need to watch the show that he's on in the HBO show.
Lovecraft Country.
Yes. I
I'm
got
so good.
watching that.
Yeah,
It's so fucking good.
Yeah, I can't remember how far I got into it, but it's fucking really good.
It is really good. And
It's not something I expected. Knowing like Lovecraft stuff, I was like, oh, this will be awesome, and then it turned into something that was pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
well, it's a book. It was that book. It was adapted from a book. Lovecraft was, was notably a very racist human being.
terribly.
A terribly racist human being, and that book was written as a I don't know that satire is the right word, but as a it was used very pointed in the fact of saying, like, if you took something like his stories and wrapped them into the civil rights movement, it's a good juxtaposition of showing how fucking racist this guy was by wrapping it into civil rights. And I never read the book, and I had no idea what this, like, I knew the backstory, but when I watched that show, bro, I watched the first 2 episodes and I'm like, I need to watch all of this. It was good. It almost kind of felt like Watchmen, like the Watchmen series. It had that same like really intense topical vibe to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was
started it
interesting.
on 4th of July when the fireworks were going off, and my little dachshund was scared out of her fucking mind because of our asshole neighbors. And so I started it that night and just turned it up really loud. And I started it like, I don't know, 9 o'clock at night or something. And I ended up watching at least 3 episodes in a row because I was like, this is fucking wilder than I expected it to be. And with Lovecraft, you expect it to be fucking interesting and weird. But it literally goes from a very civil rightsy type of movie or TV show, and then all of a sudden there's these like 30-eyed fucking monsters in the middle of the forest, and I was like, I don't know where this is going anymore.
Yeah, and obviously those monsters are representative of like, other things in society. I think it's easy to make those connections, especially if you're a relatively smart human being. Like, it doesn't take much to realize that if they're in the middle of a woods, if a bunch of black people are in the middle of a woods and there's these monsters with fire burning things, like, those monsters probably represent the KKK. Like, It's pretty straightforward. Yeah. Yeah, great. So on a side note, definitely go watch Lovecraft Country if you have not watched that. It's fucking awesome. Talk about the Emmys, right? They got a bunch. WandaVision got a bunch. There's a bunch of shows.
I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is also on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny because Don Cheadle is getting a nomination for having like a minute and a half worth of that TV show.
Yeah, literally a minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm like, good for you, man. You're really fucking good at what you do, apparently. But no, Evan just commented about the fact that we're not getting a season 2 of Lovecraft Country, and I didn't know that, so it's kind of a bummer, and I almost don't want to finish season 1 anymore. But I will, because that's a bummer. I've enjoyed it so far, and again, there's been parts that have been a little like True Blood ish for me.
Yeah.
It's that kind of feel, and it was 20 nominations. There's been like a handful of shows, maybe 4 or 5, that have just stupid amount of nominations in these days. It's nuts.
One of them just what was it that just broke the record? It was like WandaVision was like number 2 for this. It was tied number 2. I forget what show. I forget what it was. It's something that I've watched. Either way,
it was. That's a random.
It got like 26 nominations for one show or something like that. God, I forget what it was. So we were talking about earlier about the lineup for, and it is Phase 4. You're right. I don't know why I said Phase 5.
It's Ted Lasso.
No,
it's not. No, it's not Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso?
No. Oh, The Mandalorian. That's what it was. The Mandalorian.
Are you sure?
The Mandalorian.
I'm reading right now. It said Ted Lasso's comedy just broke Glee's record for most Emmy nominations ever for a freshman comedy. And it was one day ago.
A freshman comedy.
Ted Lasso hauled in 20 nominations this year.
20.
The most for a first-year comedy. Maybe for the first-year comedy.
Yeah. The Crown and Mandalorian are tied for the most Emmy nominations ever. I'm like,
what number?
Pretty sure about that. It was like 26.
One,
and then I think
I just looked up, had 21 on her own. That is the most that one person has ever received.
Was it Shakira?
In a single year, though, or ever?
In more occasions overall.
Yeah, that's interesting.
All right, so these are the books that you should start speccing on.
Right. We've got some comments there. The low grades are apparently realized that they got second place. So good on you, I guess, for going back a few minutes in this show and finding out. James Cameron's Avatar. I've never watched that. Have you guys actually seen that?
Avatar?
I've seen it.
Avatar.
I've never seen it.
I've seen it.
I don't.
What is the Warrior?
It was. I watched it twice, maybe, and
Is Warrior the movie with Tom Hardy and the other guy where they're fighting UFC?
Warrior's the show. It's fucking awesome. It's like 3 seasons, and it's you can watch it on HBO Max right now, I believe. It's like kung fu. It's based on Bruce Lee. Like Bruce Lee used to write, and so he had all these stories essentially that were never published, and so they took those stories and made them into this series that was based on like the 1920s China and Chinese in San Francisco and the gangs, and it's fucking badass, and it's like warring factions, and then the white people on the other side, the Irish and the cops and all this other stuff, and it's fucking awesome. And if you like anything Bruce Lee or kung fu, definitely watch that fucking show. It's actually
amazing. Apparently,
it is fucking. It's really good, actually. I really fucking loved it. And the actor who plays the main character in that is the guy who's playing Snake Eyes in the upcoming Snake Eyes movie. So it's definitely worth a watch. I guarantee you blow through it really quickly.
When I went to the theater to watch Black Widow, I saw a preview for Snake Eyes, and I don't give a shit about G.I. Joe, especially with those movies that have already happened. And halfway through the trailer, I had no idea it was a G.I. Joe movie, and I was like, this is pretty fucking sweet. And then they called him Snake Eyes, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, I stepped back a little, and then I finished the trailer, and I was like, yeah.
Looks good. Yeah, it looks good, man. It looks really fucking good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm stoked about it. All right. Anything else,
How
gentlemen?
How far is the? How far does the it's phase 4, isn't it?
It's phase 4. So phase 4, like if we're going in order, right? So Shang-Chi's coming in September. You have the Eternals in November, right? So none of those will probably deal with multiverse stuff. These are just movies, not the shows. And then you have Spider-Man in December, which obviously is going to be multiverse. Doctor Strange is March of 22. Thor: Love and Thunder is May 22. So we're getting back in that almost every 2 month kind of release. Black Panther.
Curious. Did you actually wait? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I saw something today. I didn't even watch it yet because I didn't have time because I was at work. But did you guys see that Deadpool put out a video with Korg from Thor?
I did.
I saw that.
Yeah.
So does that completely put in Deadpool in the MCU?
Hey, you know what? I hope so. I fucking don't give a shit about Deadpool. In fact, like outside of like Rick Remender's run on Uncanny, like I fucking don't care about him. But the movies are great. I love the fucking movies. Like they were so much fun. I would love for him to be in the MCU. Like I'm all about that.
I saw someone's idea about using Deadpool 3 as Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, and you can literally kill all of the fucking X-Men and the Fantastic Four that have all existed already, so you can bring in new characters of those, you know, new actors for those characters in the MCU, and I'm 100% behind that. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. I hope Charlie Cox comes back as Daredevil. That's another one that
heard that about Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yes, it's in the next Spider-Man film. Who knows what's going to happen in the Spider-Man film, right? Like it's going to be off the rails. Like you literally at the end of Loki, you just see everything splintering off, and it goes from being this line to multiple lines to a web, and then it just looks like a fucking galaxy, right? And so I'm just hopeful that everything is brought into it. Let's go, bring it all. Like bring
I just hope they
corner.
bring fucking Vincent back to play Kingpin.
Yeah, he was perfect.
He was amazing.
I mean, I even liked what is the guy's name from Green Mile that played him in the Daredevil movie?
Yeah, I don't remember, but I know who you're talking about.
The guy, he's dead. I don't know what the fuck his name is though.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
All right, I love you guys. Bye.
Roll it, Tom.
Okay.
We're just rambling now.
We've talked a lot.
Next week we're talking about Space Mullet. So go out and read Space Mullet. Tom, you want to take us away?
Yeah.
Read Hellblazer 41. All right.
Daniel or Daryl or Daniel? Daryl.
Daniel.
I apologize to you, Daniel. I'm sure you're watching this. Yeah, Daniel Warren Johnson has done some really cool stuff. Most notably, I think the last thing was Wonder Woman's Dead Earth or Dead World, whatever that was, with Black Label. It was super cool. Wrote it, drew it. Same thing that he did with this fantastic indie book published by Dark Horse Comics that we are going to read next week. If you want to read it and you don't have a way to get a hold of it, just message the fucking Instagram and I will send you in a legal way you can read it, because we should read more comic books, you guys. We appreciate you.
If you're not a criminal, check out instocktrades.com. That's instocktrades.com.
Thank you.
But it's also Comixology. You can buy it if you want, whatever.
You can. Yeah, I'm sure you can. We appreciate you all.
Also.com.
Thank you for
if you're broke, message the group, the page. Tom will show you how to steal people's creative.
Now who's rambling? Okay.
Tom will show you how to steal art.
We again, thank you. Don't know where to go anymore. We appreciate every one of you that watched tonight. Thank you for reposting, subscribing, all that kind of stuff that you did for the giveaway. Again, we will get you all that cool stuff eventually. Again, they're all coming from different locations, so you're going to get multiple packages, and I cannot guarantee how soon certain ones will arrive, but you'll get them eventually. So thank you very much for participating. If you stumbled upon this show for some random fucking reason, go ahead and subscribe. Watch all the other previous episodes. If you have a book that you think we should read and talk shit about, just tell us what that book is, either here on YouTube or on our Instagram at The Masters of Evil. Again, thanks, and go fuck yourself.
We're making a comic book.
We hate you. We're making a comic book.